in terms of the multiple reports we're seeing about the restrictions we're going to have for Toronto, Peel, Ottawa, et cetera, I understand these are obviously being discussed. But in terms of what you might do around gatherings, is it just going to be around things like parties and weddings, things in your backyard, or is it going to also involve limits in bars, restaurants, gyms, other businesses? And are you going to bring in fines the way that Quebec has to enforce these and bring these numbers down?
Well, I'm bringing this to the Cabinet right after our press conference here. We'll have a good, wholesome discussion. I also, I never make a move on anything unless I get being consulted with the Chief Medical Officer of that region and the Mayor. Those are two key priorities, and I've talked to the Mayor of Mayor Watson in Ottawa and Dr. Edges from Ottawa, and I'm going to be up there Friday, by the way, to have a face-to-face conversation with them, along with the Peel region. The mayor's there. I'm meeting Bonnie Crombie tonight, met Patrick Brown the other night, along with the Chief Medical Officer, and I just got off the phone again, talked to him frequently, Mayor Tory, along with their Chief Medical Officer as well, and I'll always follow the guidelines of the health and the science. And when they ask something to be done, we're usually 99.9% of the time we're all on the same page. So when we're all agreeing on policies and guidelines to be put in place, we act quickly, and we're going to act quickly on this. And yes, there will be fines, and I'll give you the number hopefully tomorrow. But there's going to be some severe fines for people want to ignore the regulations and the guidelines. So it's going to be severe. They're going to be the highest in the country, and they're going to be under provincial jurisdiction. It's not going to be under federal jurisdiction. So we'll make sure that they're followed through.
Just heard Dr. Heyer talk about gatherings being inevitable and having to think about our behavior when we're there.
Yeah.
When we have people over, should we be wearing masks all the time? I think the public is rightly confused about this, and I think they've been drawn to some evidence or examples of your own behavior. You haven't addressed this yet. There's a photo of you on social media at a wedding this summer, standing at a table without a mask. You've had Premier François Legault over to your house for dinner. Patrick Brown said he was at your house the other night. Can you address these instances, and do you see this as sending a conflicting message to the public about what is and is not allowed right now and what will help stop the spread of COVID-19?
Well, again, Laura, I'm going to respectfully disagree. That wedding I went to, Stan chose, all the protocols were followed. Every single person in that room had a mask. They got their temperature taken. If I stretched my legs, I stood up from the table and I didn't have my mask on and then sat back down. Wandering around that room, everyone had their masks on. But in the other areas, I just ask people to practice the golden rules, and vast majority, Laura, are practicing them. They're putting the masks on, but there are small groups, very small percentage of the population, that are ignoring the protocols and the guidelines. They're holding these big social gatherings, and that's what I'm hearing. No matter what Chief Medical Officer I talk to or our health team, it's a social gatherings of large groups. Not if you have one or two people over. At any time, and by the way, anytime I'm with anyone social gathering, I always make sure we maintain a 6-foot distance with anyone. So I'll pass this over to Dr. Heyer. Thank you.
Hi, Laura. I think that's a really great question, and I think what I've heard from a number of people is that there is sometimes confusion between your own social group and then socializing. So what Dr. Williams has said and others have said is that you need to have a small group of people and family members that you have intersection with. But when you're having other people over, you're sharing their social group as well, or the group that they reside with or live with. And I think that's a really important distinction that's really crucial to think about when you have other people over. And so we'll go back to what I said before, which is the before, during, and after. The before is thinking about those social groups or the groups that person hangs around with, if we want to use a different terminology, or lives with, and then who they, within that group, hang around with or live with, and then the intersection when you have a gathering at a personal level. Then the during is what you talked about, which is, as Premier Ford pointed out, staying physically distant, 6 feet apart. And when you're closer, then the masking is important. But again, equally as crucial is thinking about the hand washing and making sure that people don't come in or don't go in when they might have symptoms. So all of those things are important. And when you are inside and you are within a physical distance that doesn't permit a fair distance, then the mask should be on.